Hello everybody and welcome back to the Beatles Forever. The last video I did was about Sgt. Pepper and fun facts about the album. So I thought it was interesting to learn about that fabulous album, so I decided to do a fun facts video on Abbey Road, another Beatle masterpiece. The first thing I found out is George Martin didn't want to do this album. He'd had enough after the Beatles and Let It Be. Those sessions were a little rough, and George Martin didn't want to go through all that again. Paul McCartney begged George to do it, so George Martin agreed if he could have full control just like he did in the early years. And George later said that this was a happy record. The Abbey Road album cover. The album cover wasn't going to be named Abbey Road originally. It was going to be called Everest, after cigarettes that engineer Jeff Emmerich smoked during the sessions. They were thinking of going to the Himalayas to shoot the album cover, and the Beatles didn't really want to do that. So Paul suggested naming it after the street on the EMI studios where it was located. And that meant they could photograph themselves in the nearest crosswalk, which took 30 minutes total. That's a lot easier than flying off to a distant locale. And this was the first time the Beatles didn't have their name on the cover. The shot of the Beatles showed them walking away from the recording studio, which symbolized their last album and the breakup of the band. And John, he was leading the way, and that's appropriate because he was the one who started the band, and he was the one that initiated the end of the band. Why was Paul barefoot going across the road? According to radiox.co.uk, the designer John Koch said the reason he kicked his shoes off was because they were too tight. August the 8th, 1969 was a sunny day, and Maka lived around the corner in St. John's Wood, so he strolled around to the studios wearing sandals. For a classic McCartney prank, he crossed the road a couple of times without the footwear. It had nothing to do with being a clue that Paul and McCartney had died, like some people thought. 3 of the Beatles were wearing designer suits. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and Ringo Starr were all wearing suits by Welsh designer Tommy Nutter. But George didn't go along with the gang, and he just wore his denim outfit. John Lennon got into legal issues for Come Together. According to BeatlesBook.com, the opening line of Come Together is "Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly," which is very similar lyrically in a meter to a line in You Can't Catch Me. "Here come old flat top, he was moving up with me." This inclusion was meant as a tribute to John's childhood hero. Lennon stated in 1970, "I think it's a compliment to Chuck Berry, not effing. I mean, we resurrected him," Paul explained in an interview concerning the line, "Here come old flat top." That was a lyric John could not let go of, and he couldn't better it, so he just used it. And I said, "Well, that's a bit of a nick, isn't it?" And he said, "No, it's a quote." And I said, "Okay, fair enough." So John got himself into trouble when he stated, "Though it's nothing like the Chuck Berry song," Lennon explains to Playboy, "they took me to court because I admitted that once years ago I left in one line, which is just Berry's 'Here come old flat top.' I could have changed it to 'Here comes old iron face.' The song remains independent of Chuck Berry and anybody else on earth." This quote allows one to believe that there were even more Chuck Berry lines incorporated into the song originally, but possibly because of Paul's suggestion was changed when the song was recorded in July of '69. The song Something is a special song. All of the Beatles agreed, and even George Martin, that Something was the best song on the album. George introduced the song while in the sessions for the Beatles album, but then at that time George decided to focus on his song Piggies instead. At the time, Harrison's songs received little interest from John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and Martin was also unimpressed by Something at first, considering it too weak and derivative. But by the time Abbey Road came along, George started to assert himself more, and he got 2 songs on the album, Something and Here Comes the Sun. Those are both classics. I love them. No one liked Maxwell's Silver Hammer but Paul. George Harrison thought this song was fruity, and Ringo thought it was the worst track they ever recorded. And John escaped most of this nightmare due to being in an auto accident, so I don't know, maybe he would have preferred being in the Maxwell Silver nightmare than an auto accident, I'm sure. But the song was only supposed to be done in a few days, but it took weeks instead, so I can imagine they were getting tired of hearing this song. Oh Darling took a week to record. Paul would come in 30 minutes earlier than the others to do the vocals. He wanted the recording to sound raspy, like he'd been singing a while, and the early morning hours gave him that sound. And John didn't like the melody idea. John wanted to do the songs that were unconnected, and at one point it would have been songs by Paul on side A and John's song on side B. Instead, John gave 3 songs for side A: Sun King, Me, Mr. Mustard, and Polythene Pam to the melody. Ringo gave his first drum solo. Ringo never did want to do a drum solo on any of the Beatles albums, but he decided to do it probably because it was the Beatles' last album. Well, he ended it with a bang. He really did a great job. Ringo's sound effects. The bubble sound effects on Octopus's Garden were created by Starr blowing through a straw into a glass of milk. There's a webcam at Abbey Road. And this is neat. Since 2011, a webcam trained on the crossing has been recorded. And it shows live footage of Abbey Road, which can be watched online anytime. And I'll show the link in the video. And the lady on the cover wasn't planned. An unidentified woman in a blue dress was captured by accident on the back of the Abbey Road album art. The photographer was trying to take a photo of Abbey Road street sign when she walked past. He liked the effect of the blue and decided to keep it in. So that's pretty cool to know. Well, Abbey Road was the last Beatle album, and it's a classic. And they combined all their talent and had fun, and it comes through on the recordings. They made a record that will last through time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be great. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do that, that would be good too. I hope all of you have been having a good day. And tune in again soon to the Beatles Forever. Thank you. Bye.